Hello everyone, I am Mephisto9466 and I am back again to do the advanced joystick setup tutorial. I will be showing you how to set up each and every single one of these here. Instead of, like, in the beginning, for my beginner tutorial video, which I will link here. You can go back and watch that if you want, but with the beginner tutorial, what I showed you was how to quickly set up your joystick. It is in the beginner tutorial video. It is extremely simple and easy, and you should just go back and watch it. With this, I'll be showing you how to set up each and every one of these. I will show you all of these except for miscellaneous replays and tank control. To start off, I'm going to reset all of these. Excuse me. I'm going to be resetting all these guns here to start. Now to set these, what you have to do is that you have to double click. And as it says, press a button. You click what you want to be. Say, okay, since I clicked the small caliber guns, I'm going to click button 1 to make it be button 1 on the joystick. Same for the large caliber guns and additional guns. It's going to do the. It will be the same way for all of these until you get to your axes. Your roll axis, your pitch axis, and your yaw axis are a bit different. With your roll axis, is automatically if you set your joystick up as in the beginner video, it should already be set to axis 2 for your Logitech Extreme 3D Pro. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to set it to not assigned. Now, in order to make it easy to detect, in order to make this process easy, click Auto Detect Axis, and then with that, then all you have to do now, just move your joystick whichever way you want for your roll. Up, push your joystick up and down for axis 1 if you're using the Extreme 3D Pro. Left and right for axis 2 for the Extreme 3D Pro, or you twist it left and right for axis 3 for the Extreme 3D Pro. Since I want my roll to be left and right, I'm going to move it to where it'll say axis 2. I'm gonna uncheck auto detect axis so I won't mess up and put it as something else by accident. For maximum and minimum value, you're going to do nothing with these. Since you're using a joystick, you don't need these. You can set your dead zone and non-linearity as you want. Please check the forums for an explanation of these two. I will find and post what I've said in the description below. The multiplier is how strong your actions will be in the game. Like, say if you have a ×2 multiplier, if you move your joystick back, if you move your joystick back 2%, it will act like it's being moved 4% in the game. That's the difference. Well, not the difference. That's what multiplier is. Correction is like, say like your plane is rolling and it doesn't have trim. You set the correction to fix that. Now I'm going to click Save Changes, and I will do the same thing for pitch axis and yaw axis. I'll do the exact same thing as I did with roll axis. I'll reset these. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to reset that. I'm going to set it to auto detect axis, and I'm going to move my joystick up and down for pitch. And okay, now if you're having problems with your pitch axis, like if you don't want it to where if you push the joystick forward, it'll push the plane down, or if you pull the joystick back, it'll pull the plane up. If you don't want it like that, or if it's already acting up and it's doing something you don't want, just hit invert axis. And what that'll do is, if it's like a normal joystick, you push it up, like you push it forward, it'll push your plane down, or if you pull it back, it'll pull your plane up. If you hit invert axis, what that will do is that will make it to where you pull the joystick back, the plane will push down. You push the joystick forward, the plane will go up. That's what that will do. And his save changes. Same thing for yaw axis. That was an accident. I did not mean to click yaw sensitivity. As you can see, yaw axis is a bit different than the roll axis and pitch axis because of this relative control. If you're using a joystick, I do not recommend using relative control. I highly suggest against that if you're using a joystick. If you're using mouse joystick, which I have covered in another video of mine, which I will link here. Yeah, like right down there. I'll link that there. The relative control is perfect for mouse joystick. Again, link right there. Click it if you want to use mouse joystick. So same thing as before. Just gonna get rid of those two. Going to set to auto detect axis. Gonna do that. Gonna twist the joystick to where it'll be axis 3, and voila. Now with the sensitivity. With sensitivity, it is how fast the plane reacts to the joystick. It's not how strong it reacts, it's how fast it reacts. Multiplier is how strong it reacts. And you get, and say, okay, if you're using the P51, like I have rotating in the background back there. Excuse me for a moment. Like I have it back here. As we all know, this plane tends to bounce a lot with the joystick. This is where your sensitivity would come in handy. Because if your plane bounces too much, it means your sensitivity is too high. So what you need to do there is that you need to lower it to whatever percentage you feel like is best. Same thing, that's with the roll, same thing with the pitch, same thing with the yaw. This only applies if you have a force feedback joystick. This only applies if you're using mouse. Don't worry about that. Yeah, don't worry too much about mouse smoothing. Hold on. Yeah, don't worry about mouse smoothing. For mouse usage, set it to whatever you want. I'm going to keep mine as none, but there's mouse joystick, there's relative control, there's view. With view, you don't have to hold a button to look around your plane. All you have to do is just move your mouse, and it will look around for you, but it will not auto center. That's the key. If you set mouse usage to view, it does not auto center. It does not do that. Set the mouse wheel to none for mouse wheel active. For mouse wheel activate, excuse me. Set it to none because it will just mess you up unless you want to use your mouse. That's my suggestion to you. Don't do mouse usage. Don't do mouse wheel if you're using a joystick. That's just my suggestion. Do what you want. Don't worry about those. Trust me, don't worry about those unless you want to. Don't worry about that unless you want to use the joystick for that. Gunner aiming control X and Y, I just removed these because I don't use the joystick for that. I use my mouse if I'm going to be a bomber. If I'm going to be a bomber, I'm going to fly with my joystick and I'm going to shoot my guns with my mouse. That's what I'm going to do. And your toggle flaps, your flaps down, flaps up, that kind of stuff, it's all the same thing as these up here. Not the roll axis, but all of these up here is the same deal. With full aerodynamics, don't use this. Don't bother with that. It's just it is not working correctly. The best thing for you to use is the elevator trim axis, the aileron trim axis, and the rudder trim axis. Those are the ones that you want to use. As you can see, it's the same thing as with the other axes, just like pitch axis, yaw axis, and aileron axis, roll axis. I mean, it's the same deal. It's just slightly different because this is your trim. And now you can set the trim to whatever you want. It's like with the Extreme 3D Pro, you have a hat switch. Many people would use their hat switch to look around. I do not, because my hands are tiny. What I do instead is that I hit auto detect axis, and for elevator trim axis, up and down. For the hat switch is axis 6. Left and right is axis 5. I don't think there's an axis 4. There is no axis 4 for that. So I set the axis to up and down. You may do whatever you want. You can set your minimum. You can set your maximum value to the up key. You can set your minimum value to the down key. Is whatever you want. But if you do that, you actually no. Not if you do that. When you set your trim axes, use relative control for this. No matter if you're using an axis or whatever, set it to relative control. With relative control, it is not absolute. It is not 100% or 0. You can set it to a certain percentage and keep it there. That is what relative control is for. The higher the relative control sensitivity, okay, there we go. That changed, darn you. Okay, the higher the control sensitivity, the faster the percentage goes up. The lower the control sensitivity, the lower speed the percentage goes up or down. I do not know what relative control step does. You have to figure that out yourself. Don't worry about the multiplier. Do not worry about the correction. There's no point in changing those. Now I'm going to save changes. I'm going to do the same for aileron trim axis. Like it is the same thing for elevator. For elevator trim axis, aileron trim axis, and rotor trim axis, it's all the same deal. Same thing, just set it to whatever you want. With engine control, it's all just you clicking. It's all just you double clicking, pressing a button to do it, to make it whatever you want. That's all that is. There's no axis to worry about or any of that. Only like for the engine controls mode, what this will do is that it will set your engine management to manual or auto. Auto does everything for you. Manual, you have to do everything yourself. Obviously, we all know what toggle engine is. With mixture, I'm actually not 100% sure if this works in the game or not. But I do know for some planes, if you mess with the mixture, you'll break the engine. And then you'll have to set it back to auto in order to keep flying. Propeller pitch. With the propeller pitch, when you set your engine controls to manual, you're gonna want your propeller pitch to be 100. You don't want it to be anywhere less than 100 because you are getting rid of power that you could be using. It's like 100% for the normal engine usage for propeller pitch. I don't know what that does because I don't use it. Your radiator. With your radiator, it'll help you cool off your engine or help you make your plane go faster. Or not. I'm not sure how I'm not sure how rudder is implemented in the game, but I do know that if you have it 100% open and you have your engine running at 100%, you will over rev your engine, and Or if you want to cool off your engine faster, you would open it to say about 50-75%, and you would lower your throttle to about 60%, and it would help you cool your engine off faster. They have not implemented the RPM control of the turbocharger correctly in the game yet, so don't mess with that. I have destroyed the P47 engine multiple times messing with this, trying to figure it out. Automatic control of the supercharger, you can set that to whatever you want. It's it's the same thing as the engine control mode, just that you can manually control your turbocharger or not. You can toggle your supercharger to different gears. Like with the Hellcat has 3 gears. So when you set this to whatever button you want, you'll switch between the gears, and it'll go through all the gears no matter how many times you want. It's like say if you're about to switch, like if you go from first gear to second gear in the Hellcat supercharger, and you go from second to the third gear, since it only has 3 gears, once you hit the button again, it'll go down back to the first gear. I don't know what magneto positions are. Prop feathering used to work. What this used to do is that, say that in multiple engine planes, like the B-17 or the Lightning, what this would do is that this would angle your propellers toward the wind, and it would get rid of drag for the engine that you turn off or on. But it would get rid of the drag for the damaged engine. That's what that did. The last time I tried to use it, it didn't work. Like it just did not work, and I think they pretty much broke it. First engine controls, second engine controls, third engine controls, and fourth engine controls. If you set all those to off, you will not be able to control your engines whatsoever. If you stick them all to 100% and you turn them all off, they will stay at 100% no matter what you do with your throttle, because your engine control is off. You turn, say, engine 4 on, you can control the throttle of that specific engine. While the others are running at 100%, your fourth engine can be running at 50. You could turn fourth engine off and leave that at 50. You could turn the third engine on, turn that at 75. You turn the third engine off, it will stay at 75. Same thing with the other engines. As I said, I'm not going to explain tank control. I use mouse aim for this. I'm not going to try to drive a tank with a joystick. That's a bad idea. View control is tricky. View control is incredibly tricky. Once you get like the zoom camera, toggle sight, we all know what these do. If you've played War Thunder long enough to where this video would apply to you, you know what these do. Mouse click activation is like it's basically like if you're using mouse aiming, you hold C to look around the plane. That's what mouse click activation is. With the view axes, you can disable them or you can enable them. What this is basically, if you enable them, you can use your WAS, and you can use any key that you want to look up, down, left, right. You can move your head over, like you can shift your head on the x-axis over to the right or to the left. You can move your head on its y-axis up or down, and that is how that works. Excuse me, Jesus. Now it's almost the same thing as the rest of the axes. You double click it, you open it. If you want to use an axis for your view, just click auto detect axis, then move whatever part of the joystick you want to where it will be in line. I mean, not in line, what am I talking about? To where it'll show up on this right here. I'm not going to do that because I have small hands. What I am going to do, however, is that since the x-axis is left and right for relative control. I'm gonna not for relative control. I'm gonna set it to relative control. Then for increased value, I'm going to set that to D, because increased value will be to the right. Decreased value will be to the left, and I'll set that as A. Now relative control sensitivity, you can set that again to whatever you want. And it doesn't want to work today for me. There we go. You can set it to whatever you want. I don't know what the relative control step is. Multiplier is how strong it is. Correction, don't worry about it. Now for looking up and down, I'm going to set this again to relative control. I'm going to double click that. Increased value will be up, decreased value will be down. So increased value will be W, and decreased value will be S. I highly suggest setting the reset axis value all as one same button. That is what I highly suggest you do with this. I always have it set to Q. That is what I recommend. That is what I recommend you do. I don't recommend you setting it to Q. Set it to whatever button you want. But I do recommend setting all of these and these to Q for the reset axis value. That is what I highly not Q. I highly recommend that for all of those axes that you set that reset axis value to one button. And how to do that is that you double click it, you click the button, click add. Do not click replace, because that will get rid of the other axes. Reset axis value buttons. It will get rid of that. Click save changes. Now with head movement, forward, backward, upward, downward, left, and right, it's not you turning your head. It is you moving your head over. Like say you need to look behind your seat. If you turn your head if you turn all the way around and you don't move your head over, you cannot see completely behind your seat. It will move your head over on the x-axis if you need to look behind your seat, and it will give you more of your view. Upward and downward is you moving your head up or down to look over your seat, not around it. If you're looking behind yourself. Forward and backward is still broken. Gaijin still needs to fix that. What that is meant to do is that it's not a zoom in feature. It's you moving your head forward to look around. Like say if you're in your cockpit, what that is that it will move your head forward or backward to move the frame out of the way, so you can see whatever you need to see. It is not a zoom in feature. The zoom in feature is different because it doesn't move the frame out of the way. It just zooms. That's all that does. Now this down here may look confusing, but just reset all of it to make it look a lot less confusing. Now double click it. If you want it to be an axis, set it to whatever axis you want. But for these, if you use W, A, and D to look around like I do, I recommend for this one, again, relative control mode, relative control. For forward and backward, I don't recommend doing anything for forward and backward, so I'm not going to do anything. I don't know why I clicked that. But for upward and downward, I would set that to relative control. Hit increase value. Alt W for increase value, Alt S for decrease value. Increase value means you move your head up, decrease value means you move your head down. And reset axis value as Q. Then click save changes. For head movement left and right, again, that is you moving your head on the x-axis left or right, not turning your head left or right. set relative control to yes. For increase value, Alt D. Decrease value, Alt A. Reset axis value, Q. Like that. That is what I recommend you do if you're using W, A, S, and D to look around. Miscellaneous and replays, you guys can figure that out on your own. If you have any questions whatsoever, ask in the comments. Ask me in the comments. I will answer them and I will try to clarify everything for you in the comments. Thank you for watching. This is Mephisto9466. I hope you all enjoyed this advanced joystick setup tutorial. Have a nice day. Keep flying, my War Thunder friends.